Being socially confident is one of the best things you can do for your social life, your career life, and your romantic life. And it's also one of those things that's made out to be very difficult. Now, most people believe that social confidence is about memorizing lines and mannerisms, but that's actually the least important factor of social confidence. Because the most defining factor of social confidence is learning how to socialize for you. It means having your feelings as your best interest in mind whenever you go socialize. Most people, when they socialize, they focus on the performative elements of socializing. They constantly think about if this person will like them, they think about if what they're doing is right. They're always missing the most crucial step about socializing, which is you. And if you can marry self-awareness with socializing, that's how you develop true confidence in yourself. Like as you go into this interaction, do you feel like you're having fun and you're feeling comfortable in this interaction? Do you feel like you're the one being interested in this conversation? And do you feel like a certain curiosity is being fulfilled by you being engaged in the questions that you're asking? A good way for me to illustrate this concept is by sharing you a all too familiar story of how an interaction just doesn't seem to vibe based on the social cues and just based off of the other person's interest, but we pushed a little too hard. And that for me was an interaction about 2 years ago when I had a classmate. She was in my computer science class and I saw her at a cafe this one time and I went up to interact with her. Hi Jane, she looked, we waved hi, and we started a conversation. And I'd ask her questions about common ground, classwork, how things are going on, and she would give me responses where they're very short and a little dismissive at times. Oh, how's everything going?
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, really? Is anything in particular going on in terms of classwork? Like how'd you think about XYZ exam?
Oh, it's fine. I study for it.
And then she maybe like glances over a little, and then she just glances out. At that particular moment, how would you feel about interacting with this particular person? The most natural response at that moment, and to socialize for yourself, is to, okay, seems like this person doesn't really want to interact. That's fine. I'll just wave off goodbye and just go do my thing. But instead, what I find most people doing is they linger around and try to force the conversation, even though they feel like there's nothing for them to gain out of this interaction. So there I was a little desperate. I was like, oh damn, she doesn't really like me for some reason. I want to try a little harder. So I started asking all these dumb questions about the most random things. I don't even want to think about it. And I started talking a little faster and I was getting a lot more anxious. And I was just like, oh, really? Oh, yeah, okay. And then it was a lot of filler. And that's not socializing for yourself. Now you're socializing for the sake of getting a reaction, getting a outcome from the other person. And that's exactly what I mean. At that moment, I failed to realize that I didn't really enjoy being in that interaction, but I kept pushing forward instead of realizing that all interactions are supposed to be a two-way street. It's not meant to be performative, it's meant to be collaborative. And that's the point I'm trying to make. And this has happened in many aspects of my life, and definitely in your life. Not just when it comes to classmates, but also for friends, for romantic relationships, even for just professionals. Sometimes I go up to a professor and they would give me very arrogant responses, and I still choose to put up with it in hopes that, oh, yeah, even though you told me that I was the reason why your entire class average was very crap, as you put it, I won't name which professor, but no matter how talented you are, no matter how pretty or attractive this person is, no matter how much power, I guess, this person has relative to my standing, I'm always self-aware about how I feel in every moment of the interaction, and I use that as a guide for me to continue the interaction or exit out of the interaction. And I'm more focused about socializing for you in that aspect, because that's the one that people tend to forget about the most. Learn to joke, learn to humor, learn to compliment because you want to do it, because you find something funny, because you find something worth complimenting because you actually like it. Don't just go up to people and just give them compliments just for the sake of, oh yeah, I want them to like me. Do it because it's authentic to you, for you. And that's the whole point of this video. Learn to do things for you. And a lot of people fail at this because they conflate the actions, the small little things you learn off of YouTube, to represent what it means to be socially confident. We learn all these things about opening up your body language, smiling, saying hi, saying their names, all these little tricks that we learn off of YouTube, all these things that we learn about dark psychology to attract your crush. And as a result of that conflated confidence, they go out into the world and they do all these little tricks, and now they're asking out people they're not even attracted to. They're giving out fake compliments that people can obviously tell, because we're very perceptive people. We can tell if something feels forced and if something is genuine. And that's why we have this whole social problem that we have nowadays, because people just don't know how to be in touch with themselves. That self-awareness. You should learn how to be socially confident because you would feel more comfortable in your own skin. Okay, now with all this in mind, here are some practical steps that you can take to become more socially confident. Step 1, initiate and watch if they reciprocate. Every time you find something attractive, something piques your curiosity, go into the conversation, initiate. You go up, you can say, oh, I really like that scarf you're wearing. It seems very abstract and a lot more different from all this other simple scarves that other people have. Where'd you buy the scarf? You start that conversation and you watch if the other person reciprocates. If the other person reciprocates with more than just a simple answer, oh, thank you. Oh, I got this from Hugo Boss and I really like the scarf because my mom recommended it to me, and they give you things to bounce off of. You look for content for you to continue the conversation, then okay, they're willing to reciprocate. Great. That's a good start. But if they just give you a short answer and they don't say anything after that, that means they're not interested. And remember, two-way street, not one-way street. Two-way street implies that you are involved. Then, at that case, you would leave the interaction. Just be like, okay, cool, just was curious. Have a good day. Then you go on with your life. No need to force this person to like you. You're just curious. The second thing you have to do is develop awareness about your feelings. This is crucial. This is the biggest thing that helped improve my social confidence by a lot. What I mean by this is, as you go throughout your conversation, you'll notice that you'll feel different things throughout your interaction. Sometimes you'll feel happy, sometimes you'll feel bored. And for most of us, we'll feel anxious, especially if you are more of the people pleaser archetype. And as you feel these things, learn to act accordingly to these feelings. If you feel excited and happy, continue with it. If you feel like you're anxious, give yourself a quick pause. Usually anxiety means that you're performing a little too much and you're expecting too much. So what I like to do is, if I'm talking very fast and I really wanted this person to get to know me, and then I want to get to know them and all that, I just drop everything real quick. I pause and I just make sure I just relax myself. Get myself comfortable before I resume the interaction. I'll just give the other person a chance to talk. Hey, okay, well, I've shown enough curiosity about you. I'm curious to know if you're curious about me. I mean, I'm also worth being interested in. Are you curious? I mean, of course, don't say that out loud, but just sit there and just watch. And don't be stingy about it. Just whenever it feels like you're overexerting yourself. Because you won't feel that feeling if the other person gives you the same amount of energy back. But if that person doesn't, if you give them an 8, but they give you a 3 back, then of course you'll feel anxious because now you're expecting an 8 back. Like, just follow the most natural response you would give according to that situation. That's the best advice I can give, because I believe that most of the social problems that people have in their lives is because they aren't able to act in a way that feels natural to their feelings. And that brings me to my third point. And it's a little abstract, but it's to just flow. It's to just flow. Just flow. It's fine. And what I mean by flow is just act what feels right to you. Now that's also a very abstract statement. I'm also aware of that. That took me a long time to understand. But what I mean by that is go with the flow and don't force anything that doesn't feel good to you. Remember, socialize for you. Sometimes you won't even feel like socializing. So don't force yourself to socialize if you're just tired. Give yourself a days of rest and come back to it. Okay, I woke up. Let's try it again. And then you can go socialize. If you don't like this person, don't force yourself to socialize with them. Now, that doesn't mean be an asshole to them, but just, hey, like give them the etiquette, give them manners. This person gives you bad vibes. There's no need to force yourself to socialize with them. Sometimes you actually just have nothing to say. And that's perfectly fine. When you're at an interaction and you feel like you've just exhausted everything that you could think of and you have nothing to say, then say nothing. And for like a few seconds, if nothing still happens, then just, okay, well, I still got things to do. I'll just go off to do my own thing. I have schoolwork. I have jobs. And until I think about or have like a gut feeling of something that I do want to say to this person, oh, maybe I do want to invite this person to a plan. Or, maybe I do want to ask her out for coffee. Yeah, then do it. But until you have that feeling to do so, say nothing. Be silent. Let them ask you a question. Let them find something interesting about you. But until then, if both parties have nothing to say, then we have nothing to say. Then we just go off to do our own things. That's it. Anyways, if you feel like you don't have social confidence, my biggest point is it's because you're not doing it for you. You're trying too hard to manage other people's feelings rather than figuring out what works for you. Like what's the best for you. Social confidence isn't about appealing to other people. Part of it a little is. I'll get into that in another video, but it's mainly about letting yourself unfold in interactions just naturally and just going about it without any stress. It's about feeling secure in yourself and that if you feel good, that you will be able to continue the conversation. And if you don't feel good, if this person's being an asshole, if this person is not reciprocative, maybe he's just not interested, that's also fine too, because you have other things to do. So then you just say bye and you just leave the interaction. And that's what true social confidence is. Anyways, I think I've said everything I needed to say about social confidence. So just go out there, just go interact with people, and just be aware of how you feel. This is the most important person or thing. Well, I am the most important thing. And social confidence is just a matter of practice. And the more you practice this, the more you practice your self-awareness, the better you'll get at it. And everything will just unfold naturally. Anyways, I hope you take all that advice and put it to practice. Have a good day and stay self-aware and confident, I guess. Peace.